Hey, I'm Pamela Peterson, principal member of Accounting Freedom, and I'm here today with Mike Sullivan, former IRS agent who I'm working alongside with. And we're here today to discuss what happens if you can't make your payment plan that you've got set up with the IRS.
Pam, as you know, we just got that call, and that call just came into you the other day. And luckily, you knew the answer, but let's let everyone know. What happens is when you make a payment plan on the phone, what happens? You get overzealous agents answering the call, and they want to look good. And a lot of times they don't. They're they don't have the feeling what the public's going through. This is just what happened to that person that called, and the person kind of roped them into taking a payment plan that they could not afford. Remember, the girl was in a panic. Matter of fact, she was crying. She said, "Oh my God, I can't make my next payment, and what am I going to go ahead and do?" And it's a great question again that you ask. It's not a big deal. If your financial circumstances change and you can't make the payment, you just really got to reload up and call IRS. But just know this, you should download the IRS Form 433F. That's their short version of their financial statement, and they're going to retake it. But let them know when you get on the phone, I wished I could make the payment, but you know what? I can't make the payment. That's just what you told the person, on the phone. And the IRS agent understood. But you want to let them know when you call what the hardship is. How do you separate yourself from other people? A lot of times, well, guess what? Something happened to my husband. I, I lost a job. Something happened. Circumstances change. You may have had an electric bill that went through the roof because you're in the winter. Things just happen in life and it's okay. IRS understands this. Don't be afraid to call up the 1-800 number. I would say this. If you don't owe a lot of money, pick up the phone yourself. If you owe a lot of tax dollars and it's a significant payment agreement, you may want to call Pam or myself, but don't pick up the phone because on larger debts, IRS takes they take a real closer look on those. But yeah, great question, Pam. I hope this relieves a lot of you because I think I was reading yesterday, there's 4 million active payment agreements right now with IRS. And from what I've last read, 63% of those all default. So
Yeah,
you're just going to be one of the 63%, don't you think?
yeah. And Mike, what would you say are some mistakes that people that choose to, or maybe they don't have that high of a tax debt, what would you say some of the mistakes are that they make when they do call the IRS for themselves?
Yeah, that's a real good question. It's very simple. They don't know what IRS does when they pick up the phone. They think IRS is on their side and IRS is going to understand their financial situation while you be going through a hardship. That's not the IRS's definition of a hardship. The IRS's definition of a hardship is all predicated or set up by the Department of Labor and their cost of living. If you ever want to look yourself on what those standards are, just Google IRS national standards for the cost of living. And there's four categories that generally pop up: food and clothing, the IRS national standard for housing and utilities. They go by state and then by county and then the number of person in your household. They also go by car payments and car expenses. Those are all governed by the Department of Labor and they're used for, as you know, Pam, all the government agencies. Remember, we had a bankruptcy client who filed Chapter 7, and I says, "Oh my God, I just realized that we just filed bankruptcy and IRS used the same standards." And he says, "Yeah, just look at them online," and you directed them to go online. So all government agencies use the same Department of Labor statistics and they're available to everyone. So before you call IRS, if you know what they're doing when you pick up the phone, you're going to win the battle.
Yeah, you're going to be ready to show yourself,
Yes.
in a particular light on your
Yes.
financial statement. Because and that's how you want to, represent yourself first, is getting everything in order that they're going to be looking at. And you can prepare yourself by checking out those standards and looking over your assets and equity, what you have equity in, plus also the income and expenses.
And that person who called us a month ago, they weren't prepared and they were making about $110,000 a year. And they wound up with a $1,300 payment agreement because they were not equipped and didn't understand that your housing and utility expenses is a lot lower than because you moved in a nicer area because maybe you wanted to go to school. IRS takes everyone's standard, as you know, Pam, in the county, and that standard usually is not as high as the standard that you think it is. I'm in, for instance, in Broward County, Florida. It's a nice, it goes on both sides of the track. Most of our county lives more toward the beach. The national standard for one person in our county for housing and utilities is $1,800 a month. So you can see the trouble you can call when you pick up the phone and call Internal Revenue Service. And there's some ways that you can get around that Pam and I know and we can help you with.
Yeah, so if you are facing significant tax debt and you definitely want to get help. Other ones smaller tax debt you can deal with yourself. So we would be happy to help you. If you call us, you're going to speak to both of us. We'll be both on the phone on the very first call, working it out, getting a fee schedule, and we're going to be looking at everything that is going into your particular case because every case is very different. So we hope that you call. And Mike, thank you again for joining us. And if you've got like a personal question or you got a personal issue, leave us a comment and we might address it in a video. Thanks so much for watching.